11 Japanese fighters circle above. A lone Marine F4U. Corsair limps through the sky, trailing smoke from a punctured fuel line. The pilot has no altitude, no speed advantage, no backup. The manual says to climb and run. He does the opposite. He pushes the stick forward and dives toward the ocean surface, flying the way he once learned over Kansas cornfields at dawn. The Zeros follow confused. 30 seconds later, their formation is shattered. Rabaul, February 1944. The sky over the Solomon Islands does not forgive mistakes. It smells of burning, aviation, fuel, and salt spray. At 12,000 feet, the cockpit of a Corsair is loud, cramped, vibrating with the throb of 18 cylinders turning a massive propeller. Below, the Pacific stretches endless and indifferent. This is VMF-124, operating from Torquina airstrip on Bougainville. Their mission is brutal and simple. Long-range escort into Japanese-held airspace. The odds are calculated and unforgiving. Japanese Zeros outnumber Marine fighters nearly 3-1. The Zero climbs faster, turns tighter, and is flown by pilots hardened by years of combat. American doctrine is clear. Maintain altitude. Use speed. Never turn with a Zero. The rules are written in blood. They work when pilots have options. Over Rabaul, Marine pilots rarely do. Escort missions strip away every advantage. Corsairs arrive low on fuel, bounced from above by enemy fighters who choose the moment of attack. When Zeros dive through the formation, Marines absorb the first blow and try to survive long enough to break contact. Most do not. By early 1944, loss rates exceed 25% on some missions. Entire flights vanish over Rabaul Harbor. Replacement pilots arrive weakly young, undertrained, already behind the curve. Some last 5 missions, so may last one. The pilots remember the sound. Radio lendants at combat power, gun cameras rattling. Radios screaming warnings, then cannon, fire violent, close, final, and sometimes the terrible silence when an engine quits and a Corsair begins its long fall into the sea. Into this crucible flies a pilot the squadron calls the Farmer. First, Lieutenant James Holloway does not look like a warrior. Tall, quiet, methodical. He speaks slowly, choosing words like a man checking load limits. He studies reports, asks questions that irritate his commanding officers. He grew up in rural Kansas, surrounded by wheat fields and machinery. At 16, he learned to fly not in a classroom, but as a crop duster 10 feet above the ground, 90 miles an hour. No margin for error. His instructor taught him 3 rules. Fly low. Fly smooth. Never panic. At 10 feet, mistakes are fatal. Holloway learned to read terrain, wind, and instinct. He survived because hesitation meant death. The Navy rejected him before the war. No college degree, no pedigree. After Pearl Harbor, standards dropped. The Marines took him. In flight training, instructors praised his control, but doubted his aggression. One wrote, "Excellent aircraft handling. Lacks fighter instinct." Holloway ignored it. At Cherry Point, he met the Corsair fast. Powerful, unforgiving. It killed. Careless. Pilots. Holloway loved it. He flew it the way he flew crop dusters. Smooth, precise, never fighting the machine. His squadron mates called him the Farmer. Some mocked him. Some respected him. By January 1944, he was flying combat missions over Rabaul, watching Marines die. Zeros held altitude, chose the fight, and tore through formations. Doctrine said to dive and escape. Reality said the bombers needed protection. Holloway saw the pattern repeat. He sketched diagrams, calculated angles. Asked one forbidden question. What if we stopped climbing? Low altitude meant no escape. One mistake meant death. Doctrine rejected it outright, but Holloway had spent hundreds of hours flying 10 feet above the ground. He knew something others didn't. Then came February 12, 1944. The briefing room smelled of mildew and smoke. The target, Rabaul Harbor. Maximum range, heavy fighter opposition expected. Maintain altitude. Protect the bombers. disengaged if overwhelmed. Questions? Holloway asked one. What altitude are the bombers? 14,000 feet. And if we're bounced from above, followed doctrine. Lieutenant? There were no more questions. 20 minutes from the target, Holloway spotted the Zero's first high. Ahead, glittering in the sun. Bandits, 12 o'clock high. Angels, 20. The Zeros climbed higher, rolled inverted, and 11 fighters screaming down at over 500 miles an hour. The sky exploded. Holloway broke hard. A Zero flashed past so close, he saw the pilot's face. Another latched onto his tail. Doctrine said, dive, extend, climb away. Holloway checked his fuel gauge. Half tanks. Not enough. He pushed the stick forward and kept diving. 6,000 feet, 2,000. The ocean rushed up. American fighters didn't do this. At 50 feet, Holloway leveled out. The Corsair shuddered in ground effect, thick air cushioning the wings. The Zero overshot, barely pulling out of the dive. 2 more Zeros followed. Holloway flew the Corsair like a crop duster. Hard left, hard right. Skimming wave tops, using the ocean as terrain. The Zeros struggled. At 50 feet, their speed advantage vanished. They couldn't dive without hitting the water. They couldn't track him without losing the horizon. Holloway read the swells like wheat rows. Violent jinks. Sudden climbs to 100 feet, then drops back to the deck. 1 Zero lined up behind him. Holloway chopped throttle and dropped flaps. The Zero overshot. Holloway rolled inside the climb, squeezed the trigger. 6.50. Caliber guns hammered. The Zero smoked, rolled, and slammed into the ocean. The others broke off. They had never trained for this. Holloway stayed low, jinking south. Fuel nearly gone. The Zeros followed briefly, then disengaged. The flight home took 43 minutes. Holloway landed on fumes. The engine died as he taxied clear. His commander was furious until he saw the gun camera film. The footage showed a Corsair skimming waves, Zeros overshooting, formations collapsing. Intelligence officers watched in silence. "Can this be taught?" one finally asked. Holloway answered honestly, "With training." Within weeks, low-altitude evasion was quietly introduced. Pilots called it wave hopping. Not everyone survived it, but more did. By summer 1944, Corsair losses in the Solomons dropped noticeably. Holloway finished his tour, trained new pilots, and went home. He returned to Kansas. Bulhatafam flew crop dusters again. He never talked about Rabaul. When he died in 1983, his obituary mentioned farming and military service. It did not mention the day a farmer flew her. Doctrine said never to go unlived, but in marine flight manuals, the idea endured. Sometimes, the safest place to fly is where instinct says never to go. The man faded. The idea survived.